This is a Quickie of Ice and Fire. Visenya Targaryen. Visenya Targaryen is the iron fist behind the rule of Aegon the Conqueror. His older sister wife Visenya was an exercise in contradictions. Behind the might that she brought with him to unite the seven kingdoms under his rule, there was a human woman whose acts, at times, show compassion, pragmatism, and above all else, a fierce loyalty to most of the members of her family. Wielding her Valyrian steel blade, Dark Sister, and on the back of her she-dragon Vhagar, she assisted her brother from the outset of his conquest, going so far as to crown him after his first series of victories. Her triumphs followed, burning the renowned fleet of Arryn after Aegon's own fleet was defeated, and won a victory at Crackclaw Point which led to the formation of her own army to bring to swell his ranks. Following this success, she aided her siblings in crushing the opposition of the Reach and Westerlands, followed by devastating House Gardner and forcing Casterly Rock to bend the knee. But not all victories were swaths of destruction. The Arryns could hide and thrive in the vastness of the Eyrie indefinitely against any army. Therefore, Visenya went to the source of power, bypassing the Queen Regent and simply taking young Rhaenyra Arryn on the back of mighty Vhagar for the ride of his life. 3 circles of the Eyrie and he was enchanted, his mother terrified, and the Eyrie bent the knee without another drop of blood shed. Yet some victories are Pyrrhic. Dorne was defeated, technically, but Rhaenys and her dragon were lost, and the true powers of Dorne crawled out from their hiding places as soon as the Targaryens withdrew. During this war, she created the Kingsguard to protect her brother after showing him, with Dark Sister, that his guards were insufficient to the task. Her sister had borne the king a son and heir, Aenys, but he was weak and sickly. When Visenya had not produced one in 10 years, her fertility was questioned, and those around the king whispered and plotted to put her aside. Aegon would hear none of it, and eventually Visenya became pregnant and bore his second son, who one day would be known as Maegor I, or Maegor the Cruel. She gifted him Dark Sister on his 13th name day, as she felt he was a true warrior who merited it. Shortly thereafter, Aenys' first child, Rhaena, a daughter, was born. Visenya proposed a betrothal to her son, but was denied it. As the years went by, she and Aegon grew apart in what eventually seemed to become a bitter Cold War. When he passed away, Aenys presented his father's sword, Blackfire, to Maegor, denoting that he was a true warrior and seeking to mend the rift between the two. Visenya stated that this was a sign that Aenys was not fit to rule. Maegor was eventually exiled by Aenys for his second marriage, officiated by Visenya, and left for Pentos. When uprisings began, Aenys, to an extent, proved Visenya correct in her assessment of his leadership skills. As the uprisings went on, his health diminished, and eventually she took over his care. This is where the real mystery begins. Aenys' health improved under her care, but quite suddenly deteriorated when he found out about the siege that his children were under. He died, was burned as per custom, and Visenya immediately left to bring her son back from Pentos. It was always whispered after this that she used dark sorcery, or poison, to kill him, and his stain was forever on her image after that. Visenya returned with Maegor and a woman who became his third wife, the alleged sorceress and first mistress of whispers, Tyanna of the Tower. As Maegor's brutal reign went on, a rivalry developed between the two women. This did not affect her aid of her son's campaign to crush opposition to her rule with fire and blood. She took part in the siege of Old Town, save for another mysterious death. This, of the High Septon, would have turned the battle into a second Harrenhal. She took Aenys' wife Alyssa and the 2 children as supposed wards, retiring to Dragonstone after the battle beneath the God's Eye. She had been fierce and capable of battle, but within a year was wasting away from her own mysterious sickness. She passed, rotting away, and her wards quietly snuck away with Dark Sister in the confused aftermath. 2 questions are left to us. Was she painted as a far worse person than she truly was due to her son's reign? And if anyone, who poisoned whom? Remember to leave a comment about some of your favorite characters from the Game of Thrones universe. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next Sunday for the next installment of a Quickie of Ice and Fire, Torrhen Stark, the King Who Knelt. Thanks so much for watching.